Hi, it's Lisa Marie. If you are new here, welcome to my channel. And if you are returning, thank you so much. I love you guys and I'm glad you're here.
Today I'm going to take Dollar Tree wood pumpkins and show you 5 different DIY hacks you can do with them.
Let's just get started right now.
For this Dollar Tree pumpkin DIY hack, I'm going to take the smaller pumpkin that has the little layers on it and then the welcome pumpkin. And I'm going to use these beads I got on Amazon, and this is faux leather that burlapfabric.com sent me. And I'm going to cut a couple pieces of that because I want to use that on the edges, which you'll see in a minute. So first I'm going to try to remove some of these pieces on here, and then I realized I didn't really need to. So instead I'm going to score and take off that stem of the pumpkin. And now I'm going to cut that faux leather, and I'm going to clip it to each side, and I'm going to trace on the back or cut on the back, and then I'll trace what's left that I can't get to so that I can cut that to fit. And then I'll just take that piece and I'll lay it over the other one, and I'll just duplicate it and cut that one out. And that's going to cover the part that is on either side of the ends of the pumpkin because the one I'm putting on top is smaller. And then I will hot glue just around the edges of these 2 pieces of faux leather to adhere them to the larger pumpkin, which I did manage to get all those things off, by the way, off camera. I'm going to use some furniture repair markers from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to use the color walnut, and I'm just going to go around all the edges and then where the 2 pieces of faux leather met because it wasn't like a dark color. And now I'm going to cut out a piece of the faux leather to cover the stem of the pumpkin that we are going to use. And I kind of cut it so it looked like it had that, those little pieces that hang over. You know what I mean? You can see it right there. I don't know what they're called. And I'm just going to make sure every little edge is covered with that furniture marker. Then I'm going to take this Warm Buff, it's acrylic paint by Apple Barrel, and I'm going to do the flattest part of the front of the pumpkin with that. Then I'm going to take my furniture marker, and I am just going to stain the 3 raised sections. Doesn't that look cool? I think that it's such a nice effect. Then I'm going to lay the littler pumpkin on top of the bigger one and hot glue it right on top of it. So now I've just made a bigger pumpkin with more layers, if you will. I'm going to thread some twine and stick on these different colors. I'm going to kind of create my own pattern with the different oranges in natural color. And I'm just going to make a hanger. I'm going to hot glue it to the back, and then I like to put masking tape over those pieces with some hot glue, and then it's really going to stick there forever. I've got these cute little leaves. I don't know what they're made out of. Kind of a paper, I guess, from Hobby Lobby. I got them last year on clearance. And then I've got this Hello Autumn words, which I believe I got at Dollar Tree, or I cut them off of another pumpkin, I think is what it was. I'm going to use the pumpkin color in Waverly to paint them, and then I'm just going to hot glue them right over the top. And this one is done. I love it. I think it turned out so super cute.
If you are enjoying this video, stop what you're doing right now and hit that like button. It really helps YouTube to show my video to more people, and I really appreciate it. Thanks.
For this Dollar Tree wood pumpkin hack, I'm going to take my Kills primer and then also some white chalk paint from Folk Art. And I've also got these half beads that I ordered on Amazon, and you can find them in my Amazon store. I'm going to figure out how many I need, and then I'm going to use some wood glue, and I'm just going to glue them right on individually. I just want them to be very secure. I am going to take the primer paint, and I'm just going to go all around those beads and then cover the whole thing. I just want to give it a nice kind of white color as a base. I'm going to cut up some book pages into just random shapes, and I'm going to start Mod Podging them. I'm actually using this little glue adhesive from the Dollar Tree, but you can use Mod Podge, you can use glue for this part. It doesn't really matter. The top part, you're going to want to use the Mod Podge. And I'm just going to cover the entire thing. I just think it looks so cool. I love using book pages. I've got this leaf cut out from, I believe it was Hobby Lobby on clearance, and I'm just going to paint it with that white paint. I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue and put some white twine on it to show the veins of the leaf. I just thought that added some texture, and I really, really wanted this one to be very textured. I'm going to trim the little ends that hang over so that it's just directly on that leaf. I'm going to hot glue it right to the top of the stem of the pumpkin. Then I'm going to take the Mod Podge and go over the entire thing. I just want to seal that in there really nice. And that way, if it happens to ever get wet or, anything, it's protected now, because that is just paper from a book. I'm going to dry it with my heat tool from Amazon. And then I've got this black and white baker's twine, and I'm just going to wrap it around my fingers about 15 times and cut it. And then I'm going to tie a little knot around the center with some more of that twine and just wrap it around. Well, actually, I'll use the white twine for that. Wrap it around, and then I'm going to cut open the loops, and that gives me a cute little fussy bow. I'm just going to hot glue that right to the other side of the stem. Then I'm going to take a small doily from the Dollar Tree. I'm going to cut out the center by folding it in half and getting in there, and then I can just cut around. And I'm just going to adhere that right to the center of my pumpkin using Mod Podge. Like I said, I'm just going for all different kind of textures here, and I'm going to cover the top of that with some more Mod Podge. And I've got a white flower left over from a pick I had, and then I'm going to take one more of those little half beads. I'm going to paint it with the white, and I put it right in the center of the flower, and that's it. And I love this one. You'll have to let me know what you think.
If you enjoyed this video and this is your kind of thing, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you can become part of my YouTube family, and you'll always be notified when my next video goes live.
For this Dollar Tree pumpkin hack, I'm going to take one of those pumpkins with the 3 raised pieces on it and my color agave from Waverly, my favorite color. I'm going to paint the whole thing in the agave. At first, I was just going to paint the bottom sections, not the raised part. That's why you see me leaving those. But I did go back and decide to paint those once I figured out what I was going to do. I've got some burlap here, and I'm just going to glue it to the top because I want the stem to look, not agave, but more like a stem. So I'm just kind of trimming it so that it will fit right on the top there. And I'm just going to use some Mod Podge to attach that. And I put some Mod Podge right over the top too. Then I'm going to hot glue the rest of it to the back. And that way it will be a nice and perfect little stem. And this is where you see me going back in and adding the agave to the rest of the pumpkin. And then I've got these different picks from Dollar Tree, some wheat picks and some pretty fall flowers. And I'm just going to start a little arrangement at the top where I put the same thing going to the right and the same thing going to the left, just to create a nice little top piece there. And then I'm going to cover the center section with some more burlap, and you can still see the agave poking through. I'm going to trim that so that it is flush around the edges. And then I'm going to cut little flowers off my picks, and I'm just going to attach them individually. You could do this any way you want. Pick any florals you like in any pattern you like. I just kind of picked a random pattern, whatever you think looks good. And I like to hot glue the pieces individually. That way I know they're going to stay. And then I've got some little fall fabric leaves from the Dollar Tree. Had those left over from last year. I'm going to layer them like a couple on top of each other and then hot glue them up by the stem. And it'll look like, the little pumpkin leaves. And then I've got this piece from Hobby Lobby that I got on clearance. And I'm going to use my large snips, and I'm just going to cut off that base. It was a little stand, and I just want to hot glue that right to the center. I think that's so pretty, and that shine, that's metallic. It just adds such a nice feel to this one. And that's it. It's done.
If you like any of the tools or craft supplies that I'm using that I happen to get at Amazon, don't forget to check out my Amazon store down in the description box.
For this Dollar Tree pumpkin hack, I'm going to use the pumpkin with the 3 raised pieces on it. This one is so cute. I just thought it would be so fun. It kind of whimsy. And I found this scarf at the Dollar Tree, and it's like a cheetah print, but with the gray and white. I just love it so much, especially like as a little accent piece. And I am going to cut some pieces of it so that I can put it on in the middle of that raised, the kind of oval looking raised piece. So I'm just going to trim it until I get about the right size. And then I'm going to take a marker and draw a black line. That'll be the easiest thing. And then when I cut it, we won't even see that. That way I can cut out the perfect size piece to fit right over that. And don't worry about those little marks I left, I will cover that up. And so now I'm just going to use some really heavy duty glue to get that on there. I didn't want any lumps from hot glue. And here I am using my finger to rub it in. Yeah, I could have used a brush, but not sure why I didn't. Oh well. And now I want to get that little raffia bow off, so I just use my heat tool. And now I'm just extra trimming around the edges to make sure there's no fuzz. You know, those kind of flannel scarves are a little fuzzy. I'm going to use ink chalk paint by Waverly and paint around the edges and in between the raised pieces. Now I'm going to start with white, and I'm just going to paint white on those two side raised pieces, and then I'm going to use my metallic silver by Folk Art. I'm going to do a faux galvanized metal look here. So now I'm going to kind of pounce on it with the ink color from Waverly, and just, it's almost like little dots, but not dots. And I'm just going to go around and just kind of pounce on it. And now I'm going to use some white chalk paint. I'm just going to pounce on that with a little brush, just dabbing it. And then you get that metallic look, and I just love it. I'm going to wrap this black and white baker's twine around my fingers about 15 times, and then I'm going to use it to wrap around the middle to make a center for a bow. I'm going to cut it and glue it. I'm going to fluff it up. And then I decided I want to make some tails. So I'm just going to wrap some pieces around and around. And then I can just snip the ends open and glue it to the center. And then that becomes the tails. Actually, I think I glued it first and then I'll open them up. Yep, there I go. I'm going to open them up and bring them down so they look like little tails. It's just so cute. This is a really fun pumpkin. It's not a specific style. It's just kind of whimsy, like I said earlier, and just for fun. It would be a fun little accent piece for your home, no matter what your style is. I just love it. And let me know down in the comments if you like animal print at all. For this Dollar Tree pumpkin DIY hack, I lost the film for some of this. So all I did was I took 2 pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and I layered them on top of each other. I painted the bottom one with the pumpkin color around the edges, and the top one I used truffle color by Waverly. And I just kind of brushed that on, but not a heavy coat, as you can see. And then I've got this adorable napkin, and I think I got it at the Dollar Tree. And I pulled the plies apart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to mist it with my little water mister, and then I'm going to rip around the picture, which is such a pretty picture. It's got pumpkins and sunflowers, and it's just, oh, I love it. This is going to be a very rustic looking pumpkin. And so I'm just going to rip all the way around those edges, and just that way when I Mod Podge it on, it's just going to look so nice. So I'm going to use this premium decoupage. Got it at, I want to say Michael's maybe, and it's just like Mod Podge though. So I'm going to put that on and kind of spread it around with my fingers a little, and then I'm going to brush away from the center out so that I don't do anything to those edges. I want to keep them just the way they are, and then I'll go over the entire thing with the Mod Podge. I'm going to take my Antique Wax by Waverly, and I'm going to start distressing around the edges on the orange, and I actually end up distressing the whole thing. Just a very dry brush where you put some on your brush, wipe most of it off, and then drag it around what you're putting it on. And then I'm going to put a little heavier part on the stem and around where like the stem would kind of come down a little bit. I just want to make sure I gave it a little bit of that darkness there. Got this raffia from Hobby Lobby that I got on clearance last year, and what I'm going to do is just kind of wrap it around so that it's like one solid piece, even though it's really more than one. I'm going to start in the back and hot glue it, and I'm just going to literally cover both of those stems so it only looks like one stem instead of 2, since I layered the pumpkins. So I'm just going to keep wrapping that around and hot glue it when I run out of a piece, and then start a new piece and keep going. Now I'm going to take a bunch of strands. I'm just going to make a little shoestring bow with them. I'm just going to kind of shape it up, and then I'm going to look and see how I want it to look on the pumpkin. And I decide that I do need to trim the ends, so I'll just kind of set it there and take a quick peek. and then I'll trim off the excess. And then I've got this cute little berry, or what do they call it, pitberry garland, and I did get this one at Hobby Lobby because you get so much more, and I got it on clearance. So I'm gonna take one end of it and wrap it around my finger, and then move up a little and wrap some more, and then leave the middle kind of flat. That way I get the little tendrils for the pumpkin, so it's on both sides and I don't have to glue on 2 pieces. So I'm just gonna hot glue that right to the center. Then I'm gonna attach the raffia bow that I had already made. And then I've got these cute little leaves in a bunch of little pieces, as you can see in my container there, that I just collect. A lot of them were from Hobby Lobby, some were from Dollar Tree. And I'm just hot gluing them on however I think looks nice. And again, that's totally up to you how you would want to do that. It just adds a cute little touch, I think. And that's it. This one's done. Really enjoyed using these wood pumpkins from the Dollar Tree and coming up with 5 different ideas for them. You'll have to tell me which one is your favorite, and visit me on social media. All my links are down in the description box below.
Thank you so much for watching my video. I truly appreciate it. And I want you to know that you are a blessing to me. If you enjoyed this video, I've got more videos on the screen. Be sure to click one of them next, and I'll see you there. Bye.